Hey, what's up YouTubers, and welcome back to part 5 and what will most likely be the last part of the box set collection. And this video is going to be kind of like my gimmicky box sets in my collection. So stick around and we'll check this out. I hope you guys have been enjoying this series so far. I've been getting some pretty good feedback, so thank you for the people who have been giving thumbs up and comments. I enjoy reading those. So stay tuned. The girls are here and they want to see the gimmicky box sets. Let's check them out. So when I say gimmicky, I just mean a box set that is packaged in a way that kind of wants to pull you in. And I have a lot of tin cases in this video, and I have some other stuff I'm going to show as well. So the first one here is called Blood Fest, Rest in Pieces, and it comes in a little tin case that has a lenticular eye. I don't know if that's going to really show because the flash is washing it out. But the eye blinks. It opens and closes. Maybe you can kind of make that out a little bit. And the lettering is embossed, and there's a hand coming through the coffin that's embossed. And it has a little swing tray that opens up and reveals another coffin inside. And this is where the DVDs are housed. Just a plain little tin case. You can see on the back that it is a 5 DVD set. It was put out by a company called Madison Total Eclipse. And in this box set you get the Thirsty Dead, Sisters of Death, House by the Cemetery, Bloody Wednesday, and the Hatchet Murders. And we'll take a look here at the housing of the discs. The coffin opens up. You can see that the movies are listed again on the inside. Opens up again, and you can see how all the discs are housed. I think this is pretty unique. I think it's pretty cool. And each movie comes on its own disc. You have the Thirsty Dead, Sisters of Death, House by the Cemetery, Bloody Wednesday, and the Hatchet Murders. I want to show you something too about how the spindle, how the DVDs stay in place. I really love this idea. I wish more companies would do it. They have kind of a foam center for the disc to kind of just pop on. And if you have jewel cases with busted spindles and the disc doesn't stay in there anymore, you can actually carefully pick out the rest of the spindle that's in there, and you can find these and you can kind of save it. You can put one of these little discs in there to kind of save your movies from flying all around. So that is the first one for the collection overview. We'll pause it here and we'll get into the next one. This was Bloodfest, Rest in Pieces. The next one is called Death Scream, Silence is Next. It's supposed to look like a tombstone or a headstone in a grave. You can see that it says RIP at the top. Has a skull that's embossed, and it looks like moss on the tombstone. This was also put up by Madison Total Eclipse, same company that we just looked at for Bloodfest. And this is another 5-disc set. You get Good Against Evil on disc 1. Disc 2 is Don't Look in the Basement. Disc 3 is Blood Tide. Disc 4 is Death Screams, and Disc 5 is Legacy of Blood. These are movies from the 70s and 80s. Pop it open, and again you have the tin case, and then you have like a little cardboard box set on the inside of it. And I'll pull that out. Pretty nice little set. These were pretty affordable too. I've had these for many, many years. This one came out in 2009. I think I probably paid 10 or 15 bucks for it back then. I'm not sure what they're up to now. I haven't looked for these in many, many years. But here is the box where the discs are housed, and again you can see that they have the same format where they have the titles of the movies listed. A little bit of a synopsis there with the movie and some images from the movie. And again, it kind of swings open like so. It's the same exact format. Each disc comes on its own, or each movie comes on its own disc, and it has those little circular foam spindles where you can gently put your DVD back when you're done watching it. And let's see if there's anything on the back. It's kind of the fold out there of the box set. And one of the movies fell out. That was Death Scream. Put that back in, and we will put this away and get into the next DVD tin. So that was Death Scream. The next one is called Fright Fest, Nightmare in a Box, another tin case. This one is also put out by Madison. This one came out in 2005. It's a 5 DVD set. And the titles of the movies in this set, you get Horror Hotel. So it's 5 DVDs, but you get 10 movies. So they have 2 movies per disc. You get Horror Hotel, The Last Man on Earth, Dementia 13, The Terror, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, House on Haunted Hill, Night of the Living Dead, Nightmare Castle, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and Nosferatu. Plus you also get some DVD bonus features. You get trivia, biographies, bloopers, newsreels, and movie posters. So these are all movies that are in the public domain, and these movies have been released dozens and dozens of different times, different releases. So you also do get a bonus CD called The Sounds of Horror. It says it is a spine-chilling, hair-raising, heart-pounding sound effects CD. It says, warning, the compact disc will scare you to death. Listen at your own risk. And those are the tracks if you want to pause that and read. And then on the inside of the tin, you get the box set where the movies are housed, title and synopsis. And this time they have the plastic spindle, and it looks like one of them fell out again. So 2 of them fell out actually. And it's not good because DVDs will scratch very easy. So these are the DVDs, and each one has 2 movies per DVD. And again, this was very affordable, probably 10 to 15 bucks. So that was Fright Fest, Nightmare in a Box. The next one here is a DVD box set. I believe this was either on Cinemax or HBO, and this is called Masters of Horror Season 1, and it comes in this mausoleum packaging, and you can see all of the different directors in this box set. It does have a plastic protector on it. It came with that. It's kind of falling apart. I may end up just pitching that. I don't really need it. And you can see that these are the episodes, and we'll do a deeper dive into it here in a minute. I'm going to pull everything out, and we'll look again at the directors and the episodes. So I'm going to pause it here and take it out. Okay, so I took it out of the plastic packaging, and something you have to be really careful about if you have collectibles that are around glue dots, and if you have the glue dot on a piece of like literature that's stuck to the box, or if it has like a plastic kind of a protective box with glue dots holding it in place, that over time, over like 10 or 15 years or so, that spongy, kind of easy to peel glue dot turns into almost like super glue, and it gets really hard. And you can actually pull some of the packaging off, and it was unavoidable. I took my time to peel it off. It was stuck in the corner, and it's still, this is like a little sticker on the front of the box, and it took some of the print off. So that's one of the downfalls of leaving things packaged for many, many years, and if you try to open it up, you're going to probably cause damage. So there's the front of the mausoleum. And again, on the side, we'll look at some of these legends for who contributed episodes to this box set. You get Dario Argento, Don Coscarelli, Mick Garris, Toby Hooper, Lucky McKee, John McNaughton, John Landis, John Carpenter, Larry Cohen, Joe Dante, Stuart Gordon, William Malone, and Takashi Miike, some of the best to ever do it. A lot of these gentlemen are passed away now too, so that's unfortunate. I took the little literature that was on the back of the box and I just put it inside the lid here. So the episodes you get in this episode, or in this box set, are Chocolate, Cigarette Burns, Dance of the Dead, Dear Woman, Dreams in the Witch House, The Fair-Haired Child, Heckle's Tale, Homecoming, Imprint, Incident on and Off a Mountain Road, Jennifer, Pick Me Up, and Sick Girl. Plus you get bonus features here. And this set was put out by Anchor Bay. I watched all of these episodes, but it was many, many years ago when this first came out. And I think the only one that I really remember, or the one that stood out to me the most, was Incident on and Off a Mountain Road. It was kind of like, it was like a backwoods, kind of a hillbilly episode. It was pretty good, but all of these were very entertaining. And I'll show you how the discs are housed inside here. So there's another lid that comes off to kind of protect what's inside. Now this part of the box set, I wasn't really crazy about how they housed all these. So they all came in their paper, like a little paper sleeve with not much protection at all. And keep in mind that these are DVDs, and DVDs will scratch very easily. So Argento did Jennifer. Maybe I'll just pull these out really quick so you can kind of see, and then I'll pause in between to save a little time. John Carpenter did Cigarette Burns. Larry Cohen did Pick Me Up. Don Coscarelli did Incident on and Off a Mountain Road. Joe Dante did Homecoming. William Malone did The Fair-Haired Child. I have to admit, I'm not very familiar with William Malone's work. I'll have to do a little investigating or a little research on him. John Landis did Dear Woman. Toby Hooper did Dance of the Dead. Stuart Gordon did Dreams in the Witch House. Mick Garris did Chocolate. Lucky McKee did Sick Girl. John McNaughton did Heckle's Tale. There's another gentleman, I'm not really familiar with his history. I'll have to look him up. And last but definitely not least, one of the best ever is Takashi Miike. He did Imprint, and I'll show you what they look like on the back just on this one. So it just tells you what is included with the DVD, so you can watch it in widescreen. There's an interview with Miike. There's special effects. You can see all that if you want to pause it and finish reading that. But there's one other disc, and it was called a bonus disc. So they give you even more materials. You can see if you want to read that, what else comes with it. Looks like there's interviews. So I'm going to pause it, put all this stuff away, and we'll move on to the next one. This was Season 1, Masters of Horror. I believe this was on, it was either HBO or Cinemax. I don't recall. And the next one here is Masters of Horror Season 2. You can see that it comes in that beautiful skull. We'll take it out and take a look at it. This was also put out by Anchor Bay. So this one has a running time of 791 minutes. And we will go through and check out all the discs and all of the episodes. This is a pretty cool little set. I don't think it's as nice as the first one that we showed, but it's still a nice little gimmicky release here. I'm going to pause it and we'll open it up. So I took it out. There was really no literature that came with this at all. There was no booklet or anything, which would have been a nice little touch. So that's basically all the info that you're going to be able to read about. And the skull, take a better look at it, has the Masters of Horror logo right on the front. You can see that it's missing a couple of teeth. The teeth are kind of crooked and broken in. And so basically it just, the top of the skull cap lifts up, and there's little pins on the inside. See, hopefully that's showing up. And then those little pins just kind of set in these little 4 holes on the inside. And then the discs are just housed on the inside with no kind of protection on them. So I'll try to take these out very carefully. They are separated by little grooves, so they're not actually touching, but they're pretty close. The first movie is The Black Cat. The next title is The Damned Thing. Dream Cruise. The next one is a flipper disc, and side A is called the Screwfly Solution, and side B is called Family. We All Scream for Ice Cream. Another flipper here on side A is a movie called Pelts, P-E-L-T-S, Pelts. And on side B, it's called Pro-Life. Right to Die. Sounds Like. Clive Barker's Valerie on the Stairs. The V Word. And the last one was called The Washingtonians. So that was, I believe, 13 movies in this box set. The season was pretty good. It wasn't as good as season 1, but it was still entertaining. So that was it. That was Masters of Horror Season 1 and Masters of Horror Season 2. You guys will have to let me know if you've ever watched any of those or if you're interested in checking them out at some point. The next box set is called Elvira's Box of Horror, and this includes 6 classic horror films hosted by Elvira. And these are another box set of public domain movies. The set was put out by Time Life. And there's a little write-up back here about the box set. I'll try to pan down really slow in case you want to pause it and read. And the public domain movies that come in this box set are pretty much the public domain movies that come in all these box sets. So you get House on Haunted Hill, The Little Shop of Horrors, the original one, Dementia 13, Night of the Living Dead, The Brain That Wouldn't Die, and Carnival of Souls. And it looks like it comes 2 movies to a DVD. We'll pop them out really quick. Actually, they're in there kind of snug. Let me see if I can... Actually, I'll pause it and pull them out. First one up has Dementia 13 and Carnival of Souls. The next one has Little Shop of Horrors and The Brain That Wouldn't Die. And you do get some unique artwork, some nice photos of Elvira. And the third and last one has House on Haunted Hill and Night of the Living Dead. So that is the Elvira box of horror. The next box set is called the Class of Nuke High Limited Edition Collector's Box Set, which comes with parts 1, 2, and 3. The complete Spillology, put up by Troma, Uncle Lloyd Kaufman over at Troma. He's been making entertaining movies for decades, and he's a great businessman. There's the bottom. This is a really cool box set. And the movies just slide out. Give you a better viewing here of the box. So let's see, these are in order. We have the original Class of Nuke High. This is the unrated director's cut. These are pretty good splatter flicks with very low budget. And you can see some of the bonus materials that are on the DVD. And I'll open one just so you can see what it looks like inside. You get the disc art, and you get a little insert which has traumatic DVD instructions. And it has a catalog of some of their previous releases. And back then they were still pushing their VHS and also their DVDs. You have to know what you're getting into when you're watching a Troma film, because it's a lot of foolishness, silliness, a lot of over-the-top splatter. Very low budget, but they're fun. They're fun movies. So that is Class of Nuke High, followed by Class of Nuke High 2, Subhumanoid Meltdown. It says this was the first time it was on DVD. I remember renting these on VHS. And Class of Nuke High 3, The Good, the Bad, and the Subhumanoid. The second sequel, first time on DVD. You guys remember Joe Bob Briggs? He was fun too. Legend. And there's the overview. Pretty fun little box set. If you just want to watch a movie where you don't have to do much thinking, just silliness, check your brain at the door, eat a bowl of popcorn, and just have fun, this will be the box set for you. The next one here is the Anchor Bay DVD box set of Dawn of the Dead. This was called the Ultimate Edition. And it may seem like I'm going in reverse here because I showed you probably the cream of the crop edition from Second Sight yesterday, or in part 4 if you didn't watch it yesterday. Part 4 had probably the best edition that you may ever see for this movie, but I still wanted to share this one because this is part of movie history, and when this came out, everybody was running to get this. It was a great release, and we'll go through and check out everything that was included in this box set. So you get a 4-disc set. And disc 1 was the theatrical US version. Disc 2 was the European version. Disc 2 was the extended version. Disc 3 was the European version, also called the Argento cut. And disc 4 were the documentaries about the movie. And you can see what comes inside of it. I'm going to open it now, and we'll take a look. Taking off the outer box. There you can see the Anchor Bay logo. And then it opens up to a digipack. You can see the characters from the movie. Such a great movie. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say anything bad about this movie. It's just one of those classics that everybody seems to love. There's a fake Romero signature, although I do have his real signature on the authentic Day of the Dead theatrical poster right there. That's a prize in my collection. That was an actual poster that hung in a theater at one time, and Romero signed it. So I like to point that out because that's a really nice piece. So you got the theatrical version, you get the extended, you get the Argento cut, and you got the documentaries. And it also does come with a pretty decent sized book. And like I was mentioning in previous collection overview videos for the box sets, that Anchor Bay was the premier company in releasing collectibles. They were the first company to really do that, and they have a little kind of a graphic comic book here about the movie. Ouch. That guy's got a fork stuck in his mashed potatoes. Pencils and inks were done by a guy named Chee, C-H-E-E. Colors were done by Tom B. Long. And Steve Niles did the adaptation. Steve Niles did some of the Friday the 13th comic books too at one point. And then there again are some of the characters. Some of our favorite characters from the movie. So that is the Anchor Bay Ultimate Edition of Dawn of the Dead. The next one is a box set called 7 Films to Die For, the After Dark horrorfest. And I have other box sets of this. There was another one that was 8 Films to Die For and a couple others, but I'm only going to show this one in this video. This one contains the movies Unrest, Reincarnation, The Grave Dancers, The Hamiltons, Wicked Little Things, Dark Ride, and Penny Dreadful. You can see that beautiful imagery there. I think that looks amazing. This one came out in 2006. You can see the covers of the movies. Here's some more in the back about the movies. The one I liked in this box set the most was called Dark Ride. I thought that was pretty good. I like the movies, the horror movies that take place in amusement parks. And this was really well done, I thought. And the movies all came with a slipcover. Or this is actually, it's 8 Films to Die For. I'm sorry, I think I said 7. It's 8 Films to Die For. If I count right, is that 7 movies? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So anyway, I'm not a very smart man. Anyway, so these slipcovers are pretty cool. This one is Wicked Little Things. This was pretty good too. It's 94 minutes running time from 2006. It was directed by J.S. Cardone. If you like Killer Kids or Wicked Kids movies, you'll like that one. The next one's called Reincarnation. This one is directed by Takashi Shimizu. Right there. They used a light red print on a darker red background. It's pretty hard to read. It's hard on the eyes, but hopefully you can, I think you can actually see it better through my phone than I can with my own peepers. So hopefully you guys were able to see that. This is the one I was talking about. If you guys get a chance to check this out, do that. I think you'll enjoy it. It's directed by Craig Singer. 94 minutes running time. The Hamiltons. This was directed by the Butcher Brothers. 86 minutes running time. Penny Dreadful. This was pretty good too. Good slasher. Or a little bit better than middle of the road. I wouldn't call it good, but I mean it wasn't bad by any means. This one was directed by Richard Brandis. 92 minutes running time. The Grave Dancers. This was the first one I watched. This was directed by Mike Mendez. 96 minutes running time. This one was pretty good. And the last one is called Unrest. And this one was put up by Jason Todd Ibsen. Oops, there. And this one is 88 minutes running time. They got that guy filleted. Is that a guy or a girl? I can't remember. It looks like a female. Oh, there we go. So there is the recap overview, I guess, Reincarnation. The Hamiltons, Penny Dreadful, Unrest, The Grave Dancers, Dark Ride, and Wicked Little Things. The next one is a little box set for Bubba Ho-Tep, a film by Don Coscarelli. And this has Elvis's jumpsuit when Elvis made his comeback in the late 70s. And the DVD is housed inside of the karate suit or whatever you call it. I don't remember what Elvis called that, a jumpsuit. And this was never opened, and it will never be open just because it's going to be a collectible. I have this movie probably half a dozen times on DVD and Blu-ray and 4K. I just leave this as a collectible. But I wanted to throw it in and show you guys. This is the limited edition. The next one here, I don't know how many of you guys would remember the Ilsa movies played by Diane Thorne. These have become cult classics over the years, and this was probably one of the first box sets I ever bought, and I've had this for many years. This was also put out by Anchor Bay. This is the 3-disc collection of the Ilsa movies, uncut, uncensored, unbelievable. These are pretty good movies. They're very entertaining. So this set comes with Ilsa, the Wicked Warden, Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS, and Ilsa, Harem Keepers of the Oil Sheiks. And these are kind of like sexploitation, women in prison type movies, or captive women. And Ilsa is kind of the bad warden. She's always kind of the dominator in these movies. And Diane Thorne was very, she's passed away now, but she was kind of a cougar at this time in her career. I think she was probably in her 40s or so, maybe even in her 50s at this point, but she was amazing. Her body was amazing. And I'm not trying to sound like a pervert, but that's what these movies are kind of geared towards, I guess. This one is Ilsa, the Wicked Warden. This is probably the most famous of the Ilsa movies. It's complete and uncut. It was directed by Jess Franco, so you know what you're going to get into when you watch any of his movies. I was trying to see a year. So the packaging, this box set came out in 2000, but the movie is from 1977. The next one is called Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS. And again, now Ilsa's kind of the dominating commander of the Nazis, and she's kind of holding some of these very sexual and sensual women, and often very nude women, captive, and being brutal with them, and just, I don't know, they try to escape and they track them down. And this movie came out in 1974. This was directed by Don Edmonds. And the third one is Harem Keeper of the Sheiks. Very leggy, very busty, very sexy. And this one came out in 1975, directed by Don Edmonds again. And this was the Ilsa trilogy. 3-disc collection put out by Anchor Bay, uncut, uncensored, unbelievable. I would recommend checking this out. Just make sure your girlfriend or wife is not around. Or maybe they're into that, then all the better for you, I guess. Here's an oldie but goodie, and this was another one of my first box sets from years ago. This is the New Line Platinum Series, the Nightmare on Elm Street collection on DVD. This is well worn. I bought this brand new. It has hours of watch time on it, and you can see that the spines of the movies make Freddy there in the background. Comes in this nice big box set. It's still one of my favorite sets, and although this has been upgraded to Blu-ray by now, I'll never get rid of. I rarely, if ever, sell stuff from my collection, so I guess that's part of the collecting process. Is you buy stuff and you collect it. You don't buy it and sell it. But that's not for everybody. I know people like to, space is a premium when you're a collector. So if you have a big bulky box set like this and you upgrade to Blu-ray, I wouldn't blame you if you sold this, but I just can't do it. I will take the movies out and we'll take a look at them. There's also a booklet. So I dumped them out and we're going to go backwards. So because on the spine you still see Freddy Krueger, we're just going to pull from the bottom and go backwards. So I guess the last one in the series is called the Nightmare Series Encyclopedia. These come in these old snapper cases too. Snapper cases weren't around for very long, and they weren't really the best. I can see why they weren't around very long. I don't really like them, but for this box set I guess I have to keep them. But the next one is called Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. The Dream Child, Part 5. Some dust on there. It looks like it's... some of them are little marks, some of them are dust. Here's Part 4, The Dream Master. My favorite is Part 1, obviously. I really like Part 1 and Part 2. Those are really good. The very first movie that I ever bought with my own money when I was a kid was A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 on VHS. This is Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. And of course the OG. And you have, comes with 3D glasses in there. And you get a book. It's a pretty nice sized book. know, and this was kind of rare back then. I mean, the pages are thick and glossy, and this was really a beautiful box set when it first came out. It still is to me. It's a beautiful box set, although, I mean, we've seen way better by now. But, I mean, this really was, when it first came out, it was just a thing to behold. I remember everybody was trying to run out and get this, and it wasn't very cheap either. I don't remember what I paid for it back then, but it was a pretty good chunk of change. So that is the Nightmare on Elm Street DVD collection box set. I think we have time for 3 more for this video if we go kind of quick. So I do have all of the X-Files on Blu-ray. I have all of the seasons, I have the movies, but before I had those, the DVD sets were very expensive. Well, so were the Blu-ray sets, but Chris Carter, the director, or the creator of X-Files, also created this series called Millennium. And this was a great show. It lasted 3 seasons. I wish it would have continued, but I have the first 3 seasons on DVD. I'd be curious to hear if you guys remember this series and if you liked it or not. Season 1 had 6 discs. We'll try to go through this kind of quick. Starring Lance Henriksen. And let me see. I was trying to see a year. I know it was earlier, mid-90s. So this DVD set came out in 2004, but the first season came out in 1996, and season 1 was 946 minutes running time. Retired serial profiler Frank Black. It's been a long time since I watched these. I have seen all of them before, but it's been many years. It would be a good time for a kind of a recap or a revisit, I should say. So here's the complete season 2. You get 6 discs again. And this one was in 1997, 989 minutes running time. You get a making of season 2 featurette, audio commentary. And season 3. And I wish they would have kept going. Another 6-disc set. See, that kind of, well, never mind. 1998 to 1999, this came out, 946 minutes running time. These are really nice box sets. So that is Millennium. Do you guys remember the show Millennium? The next set here is another tin. This was put out by Troma. And this is called the Blood Bank, Toxie's Blood Bank to be exact. And you can see that there's an eye with kind of a, it looks like over the years it kind of dried up. But there used to be kind of a, almost like a red syrup or a red liquid that was in there, and you can kind of, it was squishy. It's called the Blood Bank, and it's supposed to look like it was blood floating around in there. But over the years it has kind of dried up. And this is a box set loaded with a lot of the Troma movies. So you get Horror of the Hungry Humongous Hungin, Beyond Evil, Evil Clutch, Nightmare Weekend, Mommy's Epitaph, Play Dead, Death by Dialogue, Nightfall, Chillers, Scream Baby Scream. And this was put out by a company called BCI Eclipse Company in 2006. And when you open up this latch, it reveals the slim cases of the movies. I'll pull those out and show you them one by one. I'll try to do this quick. I think we're coming up on about an hour. It's hard to tell because I keep stopping the clips, but here's Horror of the Hungry Humongous Hungin. Beyond Evil. This has a pretty good cast. It has John Saxon and Linda Day George. Linda Day married Christopher George, and they made a few movies together. They're both great actors. This one's called Evil Clutch. Nightmare Weekend. Mommy's Epitaph. Play Dead. Yvonne DiCarlo, who played Lily Munster, is in here. Scream Baby Scream. Death by Dialogue. Nightfall. And Chillers. So that was the Toxie's Blood Bank tin. And the next one and the last one is also from Troma. This one's called Toxie's Top 10. And you can see this one also has kind of, this is supposed to be like a toxic goo, and you can see this one still has some goo in there. I don't know if it's picking up, but you can definitely see it kind of swishing around in there. And this set also came out in 2006. And the movies you get here are Croaked, Frog Monster from Hell, Curse of the Cannibal Confederates, Dead Dudes in the House, Deadly Daphne's Revenge, Demented Death Farm Massacre, Fertilize the Blaspheming Bombshell, The Newly Deads, Space Zombie Bingo, Stuff Stephanie in the Incinerator, and Video Demons Do Psycho Town. This is put out by BCI again. This one came out in 2005, actually. This came out a year before the Blood Bank did. And same thing as a, oops, freaks my dogs out when I do that. They kind of jump a little bit, but the little latch, and then we'll just kind of dump these out, go through them one by one here, kind of look at the cover art. First one is Space Zombie Bingo. That's a great cover. Check that out. Stuff Stephanie in the Incinerator. Get a big boot right up the wazoo. And we got Video Demons Do Psycho Town. Croaked, Frog Monster from Hell, aka Rana, The Legend of Shadow Lake. That's a nice cover. Here's another good one, Curse of the Cannibal Confederates. Some of these movies look like it was you and your friends making a movie in your backyard. That's how low budget this is. Here's Dead Dudes in the House. This also has a Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray release. I believe this one does also. Deadly Daphne's Revenge. Cover's better than the movie. Demented Death Farm Massacre. Fertilize the Blaspheming Bombshell. Some people say blaspheming, some people say blaspheming. Tomato, tomato again, doesn't matter to me. And the last one was called The Newly Deads. So that was it for the box sets. That pretty much takes care of like the sci-fi and the horror and the cult classic type box sets. If you guys are interested in seeing other stuff, like I have some serial killer box sets, I have some gangster movie box sets, I have some comedy sitcoms that I liked from the 70s. If you're interested in seeing more box sets like that, leave a thumbs up or a comment down below. I will also post a poll here on YouTube, so if you want to see another one, make sure you vote for that. If I get enough interest in it, I will record another video, because I have enough to make at least another 1 hour video just on like comedies and serial killers and well, I do have a couple of sci-fi stuff, TV shows. Got some more Three Stooges stuff and just stuff like that. So if you're interested in seeing that, make sure that you vote or leave a comment here or a thumbs up. So for Miss Hannah and Miss Heidi, I'm your boy Toddy Walnuts. It's Friday as I'm recording this. I hope you guys have a great Friday night. I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you for spending so much time with me over the past week. I've been uploading a lot of these collection videos. I'm glad that you guys have been enjoying them, and stay tuned. I will also be unboxing some Vinegar Syndrome titles that I recently picked up, and I have an order for some more vintage horror magazines, and I'll do another magazine flip through video probably this weekend, so stay tuned for that. So take care, and I'll catch you guys later.